to London, where defense lawyers for 5 former members of Canada's World Junior Hockey team will continue their final submissions to the judge presiding over the players' sexual assault trial today. CTV senior correspondent Heather Wright is live outside the courthouse in London to take a look ahead at what we could be hearing today. Heather, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Yeah, some of the players have started arriving here for day 2 of closing arguments in this trial. We're expecting things to get underway at around 10 o'clock, and the lawyer representing from Carter Hart is going to pick up where she left off yesterday. And sort of continuing, we're expecting these themes that we're hearing from the 2 defense attorneys we've heard from so far, which is really trying to poke holes in the credibility and reliability of the complainant. We know we heard testimony from her throughout the trial saying that she did not consent to the sexual acts that she participated in that night, saying she did not leave the room because she was so afraid. And what we've heard from the 2 lawyers so far is that they're really calling into question that narrative, saying that she was, in fact, in their opinion, a willing and active participant. They're accusing her of changing her story, saying initially that she was too drunk to consent to the activity, and then changing that to saying she was too afraid to consent to that activity. And so we expect to hear a little bit more about that from the lawyers today. We're only on lawyer number 2 of the 5, and so closing submissions are expected to last well into today and into tomorrow. Once the defense attorneys have wrapped up their closing submissions, we will hear from the Crown, and then after that, it goes to the judge, and it's expected it could take weeks, if not months, for her to render a verdict in this case.
Heather, you've been watching the players come and go, as they sort of, prepare for this, and you're probably seeing them in court as well. What could you say? What are you noticing about their demeanor and how they are responding as they sit through and listen to these closing arguments now?
Very stoic. When they walk in, I mean, there's a lot of media here. They sort of look right at the door. Some are walking in with family members or lawyers. And in the courtroom, many of them are just looking straight ahead. And keep in mind, this is at times very graphic testimony that we've heard, and very graphic details that are coming out in these closing submissions. And they are maintaining, a sight line directly in front of them. One's walking in right now, and it's sort of the same thing. Their heads are held high, and they're walking in sort of, it seems as though focused on getting through the day. But very stoic, I would say, is how I would describe the demeanor inside the courtroom.
And Heather, just to set the scene for our viewers who may not appreciate this, EM, the accuser here, is not in the courtroom. Is that correct?
No, and when she gave testimony, she gave that testimony and was cross-examined via remote link. So she has not been in the courtroom, but the courtroom is packed. I mean, when you think about it, there are 5 different players that are all have their own defense teams in this case. So the 5 desks are set up behind one another, with then seating for the media and family members. And there is an overflow room as well, where the closing submission and the trial has been broadcast to members of the public and members of the media. So as we know, there is quite a lot of interest in this case, both here in Canada and internationally. And so people are going to be listening not only to these closing submissions very closely, but also to what the verdict is when that judge finally gets a hold of this case and renders her verdicts in the coming weeks or months.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be looking ahead to that. Okay, that is CTV's Heather Wright live in London this morning. Appreciate the update here, Heather. Thanks.